Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We're really glad to be here in the UK, finally announcing this fight formally, which, as you know, is Lamont Peterson versus Amir Khan 2, a fight we are calling No Doubt, because each one of these young men would like to leave no doubt as to who is the better man and who is the unified 140-pound champion. The fight is presented by Golden Boy Promotions in association with Khan Promotions and Headbangers Promotions. Will be May 19th from the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. Sponsored by Corona and AT&T. Televised live in the United States on HBO on World Championship Boxing, and here in the UK on Sky Sports 1 HD. Tickets are already on sale. We've already had quite a bit of interest in tickets, both in the United States and here in the UK. They start very reasonably at $50 and go up to $300 for the top price seat. They're available via Ticketmaster in the United States and here in the UK through sportscorporation.com. We urge everyone, get your tickets early, make your travel plans. It's going to be a really big weekend in Vegas, great boxing weekend. As all of you know, these two young men battled it out in December in what was a great fight. And I want to make sure that everybody remembers that, because a lot was said after the fight about, you know, the officiating and whatever happened there. But at the end of the day, it was a great fight. And we expect a great fight on May 19th when they get back into the ring again. A few people I would just like to acknowledge who are not in attendance today. Keith Kaiser, who's the Executive Director of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Richard Sturm, who's the President of Entertainment for MGM Resorts International. Robert Smith, the British Boxing Board of Control. Adam Smith, Executive Producer of Boxing for Sky Sports. Kerry Davis, Senior Vice President of Programming for HBO Sports. And Ken Hirschman, President of HBO Sports. Without those gentlemen, we would not be here today discussing a fight. Now turning to the fighters' teams, a few people who I'd like to acknowledge who are here today. First is Robert Davis, who is Amir's attorney, who I know is somewhere here probably hiding in the room, but want to acknowledge Robert for all of his hard work. Integral part of Team Khan, you know, the man behind the scenes, and a great guy, Mr. Shah Khan, who's Amir's father, who I see over there. Also Tahir Khan, who is Khan's uncle and with Khan Promotions, also an integral part of the team. Alex Ariza, who is Amir's strength and conditioning coach. And of course, Freddie Roach, his trainer, who is unable to be here today. Now I'd like to bring up to say a few words from Khan Promotions, Mr. Asif Valley. Asif?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for coming for the Khan v. Peterson 2 No Doubt press conference. It's fresh in your mind what happened in December. No doubt about it. There's a lot of things that went on. From my team, Amir did a terrific job fighting Lamont. I still believe to this very day the judge and the jury was the referee who made the call. Amir would still be the champion. However, it's happened. We're delighted that we have the rematch now. I applaud the Peterson team. They were hard work in getting the rematch. However, we got there. If the rematch wouldn't have happened, then it would have been, we would have took another path and we would have moved on. But we're in the boxing game, and this boxing game is exciting. It's exciting because there's so many twists and turns. This is another twist and turn in Amir's career. It's another mountain, but we'll get over it. We're absolutely confident that this is down to business now, and we will be there on May 19th. Amir has a job to do, and he'll do a fantastic job. I'm 110% behind him and his team, and we know that by May 19th, at the end of the night, he will regain his belts lawfully. He'll regain his belts by beating Peterson, and he'll regain his belts by being the champion again. I'm going to put DC behind us, even though I've got to go there, myself and Amir and the rest of the team's got to go over there on Wednesday. I'm not going to go into what happened there. However, May 19th is the time and the place to be. Amir is 110% focused. I've known him for many, many years. And to start camp 2 weeks early, before anybody else, just shows the determination that he is and the champion that he will be. He's a fantastic role model, and I'm proud to be working with him, and no doubt, hence the reason we're going to clear this matter up once and for all, and we'll be back with the belts. So thank you for that. I just have a couple more acknowledgements. The Hilton Metropole, thank you for your fantastic service today and help us out with this room at late notice. And also our new sponsors, Maxi Muscles, has come on board, so I thank them. And once again, the Sports Corporation tickets went on sale, unreserved, 7 days ago. Phenomenal, phenomenal response. We are nearly sold out of our allocation, and we are going to have a massive British contingency supporting Amir Khan in Vegas. So the fans out there who haven't got a ticket, get it while you can, and hopefully we will see you in Vegas. So thank you, David, and thank you, Team Peterson.
Thank you, Asif. Before we turn over to the fighters, I also want to introduce and acknowledge members of Team Peterson. First of all, Jeff Freed, who is the attorney for Headbangers Promotions, who was integral in getting this deal done. He's not here today, but did want to acknowledge and thank him. Cologne Hunter, a valued member of Team Peterson. I kind of like to think of her as the grease in the machine. Patrice Harris, who is Lamont's co-trainer. Andre Johnson, who is the Headbangers Promotions publicist, who is in attendance here today. Thank you. And now to say a few words, gentlemen who you all, I'm sure, have gotten to know through the promotion of the last fight, an integral member of not only Team Peterson, but also of Lamont's life and his family, and that is his trainer and manager, Barry Hunter.
Thank you very much, David. I'd like to give, first of all, praise to the Most High for delivering us here today. Without him, I could do nothing but fail. With him, I could do everything. So I'd like to give thanks. Secondly, I'd like to give thanks to the people of the UK. This is our second time being here within 5 months, and you've always greeted us with open arms ever since we first started fighting years ago. And I'd like to thank you for that. I also would like to thank all of Team Peterson, all of the Headbangers boxing team, and all of Headbangers Promotion. Like David said, December the 10th was one of the best fights of the year. Could easily have been fight of the year. And if you remember correctly, the last time I was here, I told you that this fight would be one about tactics, be one of adjustments, and it'll be one fought on will. And it will boil down to, in the end, a dog fight, and could possibly have been fight of the year. The second fight will be just as good, if not better. The fans wanted it. Lamont wanted it. Khan definitely wanted it. And so we're giving it back. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the fans. Because without you guys out there, you know, we would just be. And so I'd like to thank you for all your love and support. May the 19th is going down. And like that banner said, we'll leave no doubt. I'm always confident in what I do. It's my job. I'm always confident in Lamont. He does his job. He is a no-limit soldier. He's been taught not to fear man, not to feel pain, and do whatever it takes to get that win. So December the 19th, I hope you all will be there. If not, cut HBO on. And last but not least, I do like to thank my mom more than anybody. She's 81, going on 82 years old. She has dementia, And for the last year and a half, she's been battling for her life. And at the end of the day, that matters to me more than anything. So, you know, times when I couldn't fight for myself, she taught me how, and she fought for me. So now it's her turn, and I'll fight for her too. So I'd like to say thanks to all y'all, and thanks for having me back.
Before I introduce the fighters to say a few words and then we turn to questions, one thing I just wanted to do is I wanted to applaud both fighters and their teams for actually making this fight happen. Too often in boxing, as Barry said, fans want to see a fight, you know, the media wants to see a fight, everybody, the networks want to see a fight, everyone wants to see it, and there's, you know, the sides can't come together. So I just want to applaud both sides for actually coming together, making, you know, the concessions that each side had to make in order to make this happen so that we could all see this fight again. I just wanted to acknowledge and let both sides know that, you know, we at Golden Boy appreciate everything that they've done. The gentleman who I'm going to introduce now really doesn't need much of an introduction. You all know him very well. From his exploits in the 2004 Olympics to his becoming a unified 140-pound champion. As we said, on May 19th at Mandalay Bay, he will look to erase all doubts that may have existed as a result of his fight in December and take back the titles that he feels should be his. He's got a record of 26-2 with 18 KOs from Bolton, England, Amir Khan.
Hi everyone, thanks for turning up. I mean, we've got a great media turnout here and a lot of fans have turned up as well. Talking about the December fight, you know, we had a great fight. I mean, I got a lot of respect for Lamont Peterson. The fight, in my eyes, was the best fight of 2011, and it was, you know, it was one of them fights where we were just toe to toe, and it was just exciting. But you know, this next fight in May, I mean, we're gonna change a lot of things in camp, but we're gonna train hard, and we're not gonna make any mistakes at all because we know, you know, this is a huge fight for us, you know, and it's a winnable fight for us. I mean, I know we made a few mistakes in the December fight. I still thought I won it. I mean, you know, I still watched the fight, and I mean, it just hurts me, you know, watching that fight and seeing what went on and stuff. But overall, you know, both would put a great performance on. It was a tough fight, and this next one's going to be even tougher because we know what to expect from each other. I know Lamont Peterson's going to be expecting, you know, the speed, power, movement, everything, and I'm going to be expecting his pressure, movement, and power and speed. So I know exactly how to, you know, deal with it. I mean, I've started training early for this fight just to get back into the gym and get back into shape and everything. Gonna meet up with Freddie next week, so I'll be with him training in the Wildcard gym, and then from there we're gonna move to Philippines and have the high altitude training, which I've only done once, which was for the judo fight. But you know, we're gonna train very hard for this fight. I always train like a challenger, and you know, I want them titles back. You know, I want to bring them titles back to Britain in front of my home fans and still be the world champion. So you know, we'll see a different Amir Khan in this next fight. I'll be explosive as always, and who knows, you know, maybe this next fight in May can be one of the best fights of the year in 2012. So you know, let's see what happens. But I want to thank Team Peterson for coming over to, you know, UK and doing this press conference. We're going to be in Washington on Thursday doing a press conference over there. So you know, but like I said, do not miss the fight. It's going to be on Sky Sports. It's going to be a fight not to miss, and it's going to be a fight that, you know, everyone's going to be on the edge of their seats because it's going to be exciting as the first one. Thank you.
Now to speak will be a young man who has overcome quite a bit in his life, as I'm sure you have heard, of course, through the build-up to the last fight. Was homeless as a young man with his younger brother, overcame that, met Barry Hunter, went on to a very distinguished amateur career and a very impressive professional career. His only loss came to Timothy Bradley. Battled Victor Ortiz before he was the welterweight world champion, battled him to a tough draw. And then back in December, as everybody knows, just a few miles from where he grew up, he captured the unified 140-pound world championship. He has a record of 31-1 with 15 KOs. He's the WBA super champion and IBF 140-pound champion, Lamont Peterson.
I'd like to say hello and thanks for coming. Thanks to the media and the fans, because without y'all, we wouldn't be here fighting. The reason why I decided to take the rematch was not because anything that Team Khan said or I feel as though I have to prove myself to anyone. We're fighting, and I took the rematch because y'all thought it was a great fight. Y'all thought that we should do it again. So, you know, I'm all in for pleasing the fans. So that's why I took this fight. Seemed like Team Khan, you know, still had problems of what happened in DC. I can only tell them that nothing shady happened in DC, but I'm pretty sure they won't take my word on it. So, just want to say to Team Khan, y'all have y'all chance to make things right. And I'm looking forward to a good fight. I'll be training just as hard as you. You said your training camp started, you know, 2 weeks before you normally do. Well, I've been training since that day that we stepped out of the ring. So I'll be prepared and ready to die in that ring to keep these titles.
I guess we'll now turn it over to questions from the media.
Amir, James Hill from Sky Sports. With all the controversy that has happened and the doubt that's there, do you feel you now have a point through?
Yeah, you know, we want to go in there and win them titles back, and we want to prove that we are the champion and we are the better fighter. I mean, I'm putting everything behind me. Whatever happened in DC, you know, and losing the titles and stuff. We're just going to be training harder and coming back stronger, and that's what it's all about. It's how champions come back, you know. I mean, I've tasted defeat before, and you all saw how I come back from that. Now, you know, you'll see me come back from this defeat a lot stronger, a lot better, and a lot more focused.
Maybe a lot of changes to your camp and your training camp. What do you mean by that?
Well, you know, we're going to be doing altitude training. We're working on new sparring partners, and now we've seen exactly, you know, the way Lamont fights. We know exactly what to work on and what not to work on, and what to improve on. I mean, you know, we make mistakes as well. We know what to work on so we don't make them mistakes again. So it's all going to be just going back to a drawing board and doing things right.
Just to both fights, how does preparation change before each other? What effect does that have?
Well, you know, the first time there's a few things that we didn't do that we are going to do this time, and you know, we know not to take a step back this time. We know to push ourselves into the uncomfortable zone, work hard, and just stay focused all the way through camp.
I just let my mind do the work. A lot of times I'm not going to change anything, you know, preparing for a fight, because I like to think that I'm in great shape for each fight. So I just let my mind do the work from there, and just allow my mind to make adjustments and let my coach and trainers come up with game plans, and I just stick to that.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it is. It's a make or break fight for me. It's a tough fight. It's a fight that people want to see. I mean, the whole of the UK, the whole of the world's talking about this fight, and I'm glad, you know, Lamont Peterson did take this fight. But yeah, you know, I'm going to be trained like a challenger, and I'm going to, you know, prove to the world and, you know, how good I am. And it, you know, it is like a make or break fight for me, because I've got so much to lose, and also Lamont Peterson's got a lot to lose as well.
And the same question goes to Lamont. Same question. Is this a make or break fight for you? Do you know you're the champion?
I don't believe so, but I definitely want to win the fight. And, you know, I'm enjoying being the champ right now, and I'm just not going to let it go that easy.
I'm Amir Khan from in Pakistani network here. My question is for Amir Khan. Do you think the decision on 10th December will affect your future career and your forthcoming with Lamont?
Well, I think this is the time where we put things straight. You know, we're going to make sure we're not going to make the mistakes that we made, even though the last fight in December, you know, I honestly think I won. But this time we're going to come back stronger, and we're going to win this next fight in May 19th, clearly, where nobody, I mean, we'll just prove to people, you know, who was the champion, who is the champion, and that's what we're going to do. I mean, it's going to be a tough fight, but it's going to be all about how we go into this fight, how focused we are, and how we just break down Lamont Peterson, because we know what he does. Lamont fought with his skin the first time, and you know, we want him to put that a performance on again, because we know how to answer those questions then.
Richard Conley, BBC Sport. When we last spoke in January, I asked you if you accepted Lamont as the true champion, and you told me that no, not really. I don't think he beat me fair and square. I really thought I was robbed in that fight. Do you still stand by those claims?
Definitely, and yeah, I do, and you know, we'll see on May 19th, and that's why this fight is such a big fight. I mean, that's why there's such a big turnout here, and everyone in the world's talking about this fight. People want to see this fight, and it's a time for me to prove, you know, and settle the score and put things straight.
And Lamont, do you feel disrespected by that attitude towards you?
I don't feel disrespected, but I don't really know how to feel about it. I just know May 19th, like I said, he'll have his chance to change things around. But as it stands right now, regardless of what he say, I am the champ, and got plans on remaining to be the champ after May 19th.
Lamont Peterson, I know you called this fight no doubt, but do you think it will take the third fight, trilogy, to truly say who is the best between you?
No. No, because that will only happen if I lose. And I know I'll win the fight. That's 2-0. Settled.
Is there a rematch clause in the contract?
No rematch clause.
Cameron Sharp, Boxing Fancast. Lamont, Barry, how has life changed for you guys since December, since the fight?
Me personally, nothing. Still the same person. Still train hard, just as hard as I did, you know, before any other fight. But just the way the people accept me, you know, that's the only thing that really changed.
It's pretty much the same. We pretty much real simple folk. Lamont still comes in the gym, like you said. He started right after the fight. In fact, I had to put him out the gym. Comes in, he works with the kids, he still laces their gloves up, and the whole nine. So, you know, a lot of times in, you know, doing what we do, we fail to realize that, you know, we had to start somewhere, and we lose sight of ourselves sometimes. So we make sure that we do those simple things, and so we can always stay grounded. So everything is love, just the way it was.
He's a great fighter. You don't win a silver medal at the Olympics or, you know, 2 world titles by not being a good fighter. So, you know, I have a lot of respect for him in the ring. It's just my job to go in there and my team to figure things out and come up with a game plan to win. But at the end of the day, I'm confident that I'll win. But you know, he's a good fighter, probably soon to be a great fighter.
Yeah, you know, I think in December he proved to a lot of people how good he was, and that's what makes this fight very exciting, because you've got 2 good fighters in there who are not kind of, you know, not fighting each other. I mean, the world of boxing now, you get 2 good fighters who never face each other, but you got us 2 having a second fight, and you know, the fans love this fight and they're gonna love it again. But yeah, overall, I mean, 2 fighters always make an amazing fight, and this second one's going to be even better than the first one.
Can I, before I want to add to that, it's rare you see two young fighters, at top of their game in the days boxing, bout against one another like that. I think the thing that hurt us in the past is we were more focused on protecting the zero than laying it on the line. And to me, that's shortcutting the fans. I think by having a match like this with Lamont and Amir, both very, very hungry fighters. I believe the last time I was here, Amir used the term that they had both hearts of lions, and they have similar walks, all through their career. So now I think this is definitely what boxing needs, is a shot in the arm. And I like to see, and I challenge the average champ out there that say you are the best. I think you need to lay it down and fight the best in order to be deemed the best. So I applaud both of them, and I thank you very much for accepting the challenge, actually.
What's that? People that aren't authorized to be at ringside will not be welcomed at ringside.
I think they're going to be fair. They're going to have to be fair with everything that went on the first time. I think there's going to be a lot of changes, and we want new. All I want is neutral referee, neutral judges, and and it's a neutral venue. I mean, I don't think it would be fair if we brought the fight to England. I mean, I think it would be fair if we took the fight back to Washington. Vegas is, it's neutral for both of us, so I think the fight will, be neutral. I mean, we'll also have a neutral commission. So I think that's what we wanted the first time, and we didn't have that the first time. So I'm sure this time it'll happen. I'm sure Golden Boy Promotions are onto it, and hopefully they can arrange that. As long, we just want a fair fight. We've got two good fighters in the ring, and we want to be treated fairly, and we want to show who the best is.
I think you've also got to remember that Nevada Commission is one of the most experienced commissioners in the world. So they do fights in quite regularly. And DC Commission wasn't experienced enough. And it just showed on the night in December. However, going back to Vegas is going to be great. And I think it's going to be fair for both fighters. And Amir and Peterson's job is to work inside the ring. And people like myself and Golden Boy and Headbangers Promotion will also be doing the best outside the ring. So there's, all over the show we're going to have fairness, and we'll be making sure outside the ring we'll be making sure that it's a fair platform for both fighters.
Well, I mean exactly what I say. And that's not just saying anything, just saying, oh, I'll try hard. Have no problem with it. I believe, as a fighter, you're supposed to lay yourself on the line that way, even in the gym. Sometimes, you push yourself so hard, you feel like you need to check yourself into the hospital sometimes. And just training that way and just having that mentality just ensures me that I'll come out with the victory.
I mean, the reputation of British boxing's taken a bit of a hit recently, what with David Hay and Derek Chisora. Do you feel a responsibility going into this fight to try and restore that reputation somewhat?
Yeah, the boxing in Britain has not been the best, especially with what happened between David and Chisora. But me and Lamont, two professional fighters who respect each other outside the ring, but once we're in the ring, it's a different story. We've been in this position before where we've been head to head, and everything's been fine. There's been no punches thrown or anything. It is a tough question for me because I know both fighters quite well, and they've been cool with me, and they're both down to earth and stuff. But you'd never see me get into anything like that. I respect the sport, and I respect the fans and everything, and I think it just looked bad for boxing, and we just don't need that in boxing.
Gary?
Question for both Barry and Lamont. Before this fight was signed, there was a lot of talk about
business is such that, you know, part of being the world champ is to have choices. And early on, if you remember at the end of the fight, Lamont, when I asked if he would give Amir a rematch, he instantly said yes. So there was no doubt that we would fight Amir again. The question was whether we would fight him immediately after that fight. And so, in doing so, you have to, in business, entertain other offers instead of just going with one. And leading up to, well, after the fight, directly after the fight, when I asked that, my thing was to at least allot him the time to enjoy what he had accomplished that night, because it was a tremendous fight and it was a tremendous night, number one. Number two, he had to make the best decision, not only for him, but for his daughter also in their future. So I had no problem with entertaining other fights. One of the fights that was intriguing also to me was the fight against, who was that, Lamont? The one that was really on the line. Marquez. Because Marquez is, you know, soon to be a Hall of Fame fighter. He's a warrior inside the ring. He's one of the best skilled fighters on the planet. And this is what we want to do. You know, since Lamont first came into the gym, our whole thing was to make him the best fighter on the planet, make him a fighter for the people and for the history books. And we're on that path right now. So, you know, it was never a doubt whether or not we wanted to fight Amir again, because these two guys, their styles make for, you know, just tremendous action. And that was the whole process. That was what we went through. As far as the WBA is concerned, or any other governing body, I broke my chains a long time ago, and I made sure he didn't never have to wear any. So I would never be forced or feel like we're forced to go into a fight without making our own decisions, our own choices. You're welcome.
Firstly, I've just got two questions for you. The first one to Amir is, from a boxing perspective, what happened in that fight? Because we've seen you fight Paulie Malignaggi, we've seen you fight Marcus Maidana. Former crosses all these fighters and your jab was really effective at keeping these fighters back. What happened against Lamont Peterson? And the second question is really open question to David from Lamont as well. On fight night, Lamont came in at 11 stone 1 pound. Fight night apparently officially Amir was 10 stone 9. Do you think there should be some kind of cap on the kind of weight level that should come in, and how do you think that affects the fight?
Well, about the fight, you know, we did make a few adjustments in the fight, and there's a few things we didn't do in the fight that we should have done more of. But they're the things we're going to work on for the next one. You know, it's true that we didn't work on the jab as much, and we should have. But you know, like I said, there's another fight now, and hopefully in the next one we'll do everything right and not make the same. Not make any mistakes really. Even though, you know, I still think and I still know that I won the fight. I mean, and that's even without being on my A game. I mean, you know, I've had better performances. It just wasn't a good night for me. But you know, when coming May 19th, I'm going to make sure I'm on my A game, and I'm going to be strong, and I'm going to be ready and focused, and you know, we'll be using every shot right, and we'll be making no mistakes at all.
And then just to address the question about the weight, the IBF actually does have what they call a second day weigh-in. The morning of the fight, they do weigh both fighters, and neither fighter can gain more than 10 pounds. There's no weigh-in after that. You know, it's a debate in boxing. You know, do you weigh guys in right before the fight? If you do that, you know, you're risking guys being dehydrated. You're risking guys being sucked down. A lot of people think that opens them up to, you know, to injury if that happens. So it's a debate. I think, you know, what the IBF does is interesting in that the morning of, there is something that limits them to that 10 pounds between, you know, when they weigh in on Friday to Saturday morning, they can only gain 10 pounds. So that, you know, does to some extent put a limit as to how much they can gain, you know, in whatever it is, the 12 hours from the morning until the actual fight. I think we'll take one more question, and then that'll be all.
Amir, do you feel Lamont hasn't had the credit it deserves for the performances on Saturday?
Well, you know, I think everywhere I've been, I mean, I've been in America and, you know, in the UK and everywhere. And I've been places like Panama and stuff like that. And everyone said to me, look, we saw the fight and we really thought you won the fight. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's not up to me what people think. So I can't really answer a question for them. People think I won the fight. Some people think Lamont won the fight. That's what makes this fight amazing, you get me? But, you know, 90% of the people that I've met have said, look, you won the fight, and I think this is what's going to make this fight even, you know, more amazing, because this next one's going to be, Lamont thinks he won the first time, I think I won the first time. That's why the second one's going to be a huge fight for both of us, really. You know, and we know Lamont fought over his skin, and like I said, it's all about just putting things right and settling the score. And this fight for me is will be the biggest fight of my career.
All right, well, May 19th, Mandalay Bay on HBO and on Sky. There will be no doubt. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. We'll now pose the fighters for pictures.
Just before people stand up, please, just before you stand up, it's very important with you.